Captain Vex of the harrowing fleet stared through the view screen at the small blue-green planet designated X4721. His mandibles clicked with anticipation. The scanner showed pre-FTL civilization, primitive by galactic standards, but with sufficient neural complexity to make excellent laborers for the mines on Calthor Prime. Standard harvesting protocol. Vex ordered his crew of 15. We'll take a small settlement from the southern continent, in and out before their planetary defense systems even register our presence. The harrowing fleet had been conducting these operations for centuries. The Mesan Empire needed workers, and undeveloped worlds provided the perfect resource. The subjects rarely survived more than a few cycles in the mines, but there were always more planets to harvest. Lieutenant Krull, Vex's second-in-command, approached with a report. We've identified an isolated location. Appears to be a training facility of some kind. Only 30 subjects detected, minimal defenses. Vex's 6 eyes blinked in sequence. Perfect. Prepare the stun field. The clearing was silent except for the occasional chirp of insects. The 12 human figures moved with practiced precision through the dense jungle. Each wore standard Earth Defense Force combat gear, matte black and designed to deflect most scanning technologies. Major Reed, perimeter sensors just went dark. Lieutenant Wilson reported, her voice barely above a whisper. Major Tom Reed paused, raising a closed fist. The squad froze instantly. He tapped the enhanced vision module on his helmet, switching to thermal spectrum. Possible contact bearing 270, altitude increasing, he said. Move to position Alpha. Could be nothing, but let's follow protocol. A Special Forces unit, Phantom Squad, had been conducting covert exercises on this remote island for 3 days. Their mission was classified even to most of Earth's military leadership. After the Centauri incident last year, Earth had quietly established elite units prepared for possible extraterrestrial threats. They were halfway to the extraction point when the air shimmered above them. Take cover, Reed shouted, but it was too late. A wave of energy pulsed across the clearing, and all 12 soldiers collapsed, their nervous systems temporarily paralyzed. Vex watched as the collection crew loaded the unconscious primitives onto the transport. These specimens were unusual, well-muscled and carrying crude weapons, perhaps a warrior caste. They would fetch a higher price. Strange equipment, Krull observed, examining one of the confiscated helmets. More advanced than expected for their development level. It matters little, Vex dismissed. Primitives occasionally develop unusual technologies without achieving true civilization. Place them in holding cell 3 and prepare for departure. The ship hummed as it broke atmosphere, its stealth systems rendering it invisible to Earth's detection capabilities. In the holding area, 12 humans lay unconscious, their equipment confiscated and stored in a separate compartment. What the aliens didn't realize was that the crude equipment included subcutaneous emergency beacons, standard issue for all Phantom Squad operators. 3 hours later, Major Reed opened his eyes. The paralysis was wearing off, just as their intelligence on alien stun technology had predicted. He remained motionless, assessing the situation through barely opened eyelids, metal walls, artificial gravity, the subtle vibration of FTL engines, exactly as briefed. This wasn't a training exercise gone wrong. This was the mission itself. For 6 months, Earth's intelligence networks had been tracking the disappearances of humans from remote locations. After recovering alien technology from an abandoned site in Siberia, they developed a theory. Someone was harvesting humans. The logical response was to create bait. Reed waited until the guard, a tall, insectoid creature, moved to the far end of the corridor before making a subtle hand gesture. Around him, the other members of Phantom Squad showed signs of consciousness while maintaining the appearance of sedation. 60 seconds, Reed whispered. His team had trained for this scenario extensively. The subcutaneous implants they all carried contained not just tracking devices, but also specially designed nanotechnology. When Lieutenant Wilson pressed her thumb and forefinger together in a specific pattern, the nanites activated, spreading through the specialized fibers of their undergarments. Within seconds, their muscles received a massive boost of synthetic adrenaline and oxygen. Reed moved first, so quickly the security camera barely registered a blur. The guard turned just in time to see the primitive subject somehow materialize in front of him. Reed struck with precision, targeting what intelligence suggested would be vulnerable nerve clusters in the alien's physiology. The guard collapsed without a sound. Taylor Jackson, secure the equipment room, Reed ordered. Miller Davis, find the bridge. Everyone else, with me to free any other captives. Vex was recording his harvest report when the ship's alarms began blaring. He clicked in annoyance. Report, he demanded through the communication system. The response was static, followed by a crash and what sounded like weapon fire. Security breach in holding sector, came a panicked voice. The primitives, they're not. The transmission cut off. Vex's irritation turned to concern. He activated the ship-wide monitoring system. The display showed chaos. Somehow, the unconscious subjects were not only awake but systematically taking control of his vessel. They moved with impossible speed and coordination, neutralizing his crew with frightening efficiency. Impossible, he chittered, mandibles clattering with growing fear. They're pre-FTL primitives. The door to the bridge slid open. Vex spun around, drawing his energy pistol. The weapon was knocked from his hand before he could fire. A primitive stood before him, standing upright, eyes cold and focused. I am Major Thomas Reed, Earth Defense Force Special Operations. The human said calmly, your harvesting operations in our system have ended. Vex's translator processed the words with growing horror. This wasn't a primitive species. These were humans. The legendary warriors whispered about in the darker corners of the galaxy. The species that had supposedly annihilated the Duraxian Armada. The creatures that even the Mezan High Command had specifically ordered to avoid, and he had just attempted to enslave a squad of their elite soldiers. We freed the other captives from your previous raids, Reed continued. Your ship is now under our control. You're going to tell us everything about your operation, your employers, and any other ships currently in our system. As Reed's squad secured the bridge, Vex realized with dawning horror that his career as a slaver hadn't just ended. The humans had found them, and through his actions, he had just triggered the very thing the Mezan Empire had been desperately avoiding for centuries: human attention. The legends were true. Humanity had been content to remain in their system, developing quietly. But now they were aware of the larger galactic community, and specifically of those who would threaten them. The galaxy would never be the same.